Hello, I'm Dennis the Woodworker. Today we're going to talk about fireplaces. The program is divided into two parts. One part of the program is a discussion of some of the issues that our viewers are concerned about. I can't say that I'm answering them, just sharing my personal opinion. And then we're going to build a fire in the fireplace. In the end, we share how to selection of wood for the fireplace. This is my house. Family room. This is my other fireplace. Above this are some of my woodcrafts. And some of my little animals and stuff. This place is for me and my little girl. This is where my little girl and I play. When the fireplace is burning. When the fireplace was up, we play in this space. We'll play together. It snowed a lot in Toronto this year. The snow, it's more than 2 feet deep. There's also some snow videos on shoveling. I'll put them at the end of the program if you're interested. First of all, let's answer a popular topic. A hot topic among netizens. Is the fireplace useful or not? My answer is that it's useful if it's useless, and useful if it's not. It depends on your expectations. Fireplace culture first originated in Europe. Is the aristocracy. Social and family gatherings. It was an integral part of social and family gatherings. From the moment of its birth, it has been associated with all kinds of heating stoves, furnaces, and fire beds. All exist side by side. And with its different forms of existence, there is the external type, like my fireplace, which belongs to the built-in type. My downstairs fireplace is the one we're going to build a fire in later. Embedded type. These different forms along with the fireplaces they surround the decorated each part of the room, the stylistic and cultural differences, each with its own style and culture. So it's more of an ambience and a cultural fountainhead. It is not just a practical aspect of heating, to be frank. From the day it was born, it's not just for heating. Or rather, it didn't come to be used for heating. Then what is it? It is a symbol of culture. It's to satisfy people's visual, mental, and even olfactory pleasures. And not just to satisfy the body's need for ambient temperature. I have done some research in this area. I observed that especially in England, many aristocratic families have a fireplace in almost every room. It's like a living room, like a family room, a study, a bedroom. It's clear that the fireplace is not there just to keep you warm. To replace the other heating devices. At this point in time, you could say that it's useless. But among the useless, is it useful? It's useful. It's not useful at all. So this is my answer. Let's think about this. study of fireplace culture in the future. I will do some more data organization and collection, and then I'll share it with you. But today, we still need to focus on the basic operation of the fireplace and the choice of wood. Come on, let's go down and build a fire for the fireplace. Grab my $1 Home Depot glove. First things first. Does this stove look different? It's different from the one you saw last time. It's a bit brighter, isn't it? This is based on the advice of one of our friends. I bought a piece of meat. I ate the meat. And the skin? It's dry. It's very effective after rubbing it. But there's a slight odor. What kind of smell? Stir-fried meat flavor. Thank you very much. Okay, let's start cleaning up the ashes. Some people have asked me about this ash. This piece of wood, I think it can be used for a while. What should we do with the ashes? This ash is good for fertilizer. It's a good fertilizer. You can put it on the grass in the garden. You can put it in the garden. Put it in the vegetable field. It contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium fertilizer. I have a guest who is also an internet user in Guelph, at an agricultural research institute in Guelph. He told me that ash like this is a rare fertilizer. Thank you, Mr. Gia. If you're watching my program, please leave a comment below. So this ash is stuff. Don't throw it away so easily. Look at the sparks here. So this is what I emphasized last time. I'm pulling out the ash. Fill the ash bucket, I must cover the lid. The ashes here are actually, there's no need to, extraordinarily clean. Basically, it's almost enough. Some people say they want to leave 1 to 2 inches of ash here. How to protect this furnace hall? I don't think it's necessary. Start. Put the lid on. Put it out of the way. Then the following. Let's clean this. Clean this glass. This glass. I prefer to use this. Some netizens suggested that use this kitchen paper. Dip it in the ashes of the stove and wipe it off. I'll try it on you later. This method also works. But I don't particularly recommend it. Because the ashes, it has some hard substances. These substances can scratch the glass. I've tried this before. I can say that the effect is good is also more the traditional method. This method of cleaning the glass. What? I still do not recommend. We can try it out later. When you wipe, you can. The bottom, there's still some on the glass side of the fireplace. There's still some residue. Okay, I'm done. I'll use this kitchen paper. Kitchen paper with water. And a little bit of ash. Let's try it. And then I'll use a cloth. I'll use a cloth to wipe it again. Let me tell you something. Why don't I recommend it? Because it's true. The ash will easily scratch the glass. Where do I use it? This piece on the corner. It's heavier. Heavier dirt. I do wipe it with this ash. Scrub it. Okay. Put it in a bowl. Boil it up and squeeze it tight. Give it some support. It's a little piece of wood. Birch bark can hold up. This leftover piece of wood can also go on so that it has a base of support. Okay, next step. The ashes are being vacuumed. Here we go. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. Traditional method. Scratch out the skin to start the fire. And in this area, we'll talk about cork in a minute. Pine branches. Cypresses, they're oily. It's okay to use it as a fire starter, but we don't recommend use that stuff as the main firewood, to burn. That is not acceptable. We'll talk about that later. Well, we put a wood inside. Say, how to make this wood? Some people say it's a tic-tac-toe. What about the tic-tac-toe? The foreigners do it, but I don't recommend it. In my experience as a child, last time I told you I loved playing with fire when I was a kid. How about building a cone? What about this cone? Oxygen and air can be drawn together. The center frame of the wood can go in. This way it burns more fully and the water is more intense. As for that, after the wood burns, how do you build it? I think you can do whatever you want, whether it's horizontal or vertical. As long as you think the flame can make you happy, I think it's okay if it burns in any direction. For example, it's really hot. Hat off. Don't show your face. Leave the front on. This one. This wood. No matter how you build it, when you leave, the door must be closed. Oh, this is important. It's very important. Don't leave it open. What if the wood doesn't come out? If the wood doesn't come out, the sparks may come out. It's also easy to ignite some of the nearby cotton fabrics and so on, so be careful. But some friends told me they like to stuff the fireplace. Put the wood. Stuff it full of wood. I don't think that's right. It's stuffed to the gills. This wood, it burns too much. It'll burn out the stove. This stove is cast iron. The temperature it can withstand, there's a limit to how hot the stove can get. So I suggest a safer approach. It's like this. This thick, this kind of wave. It's a 4-piece split. 3 to 4 quarters is enough. Put it in. When it's done, add more. That's why I don't recommend. I strongly advise against filling up the stove. If you fill it up, not only will the stove burn out, and what's more, once the wood is on the glass, it'll blow the glass. Look at this crack. This is the one time I wasn't paying attention. This one, I was not paying attention and the wood got on the glass. It burns out over time. This kind of glass is ceramic glass, although it is resistant to high temperatures, but still need to pay attention to some. I hope that everyone be careful when building a fire. Then down we, talking about, for example, the choice of firewood. There are softwoods and hardwoods. Softwood, like pine, cypress, wooden effigy buried, put a curse on SB. Woods like these, the head is not recommended as a primary. Firewood. For what reason? This type of wood produces a type of turpentine. This turpentine will be exhaled into the chimney. This one's black as asphalt. It's hard to clean and it's very flammable and toxic. So softwood is prone to some problems in this regard. A secondary problem is that cork burns for a shorter time. Its heat is not as full as hardwood, so we suggest you, when you start the fire, you can burn some. I also use to start the fire. I sometimes use pine needles or something that burns. It will be faster. But generally, like I showed you, I use birch bark. Some small wood shavings with newspapers and magazines or something to make a fire. I think it's better this way. You can look at my stove first. This stove inside it. It's still relatively clean, except for some ash. Basically no turpentine. There's no turpentine, no asphalt. So, this is important. Burn hardwood. Don't burn softwood if you can't control it. Why don't you just don't burn softwood, burn hardwood? How do you tell the difference between softwood and hardwood? Softwood? It's very simple. What's the best way to tell a softwood from a hardwood? These are the evergreen ones, especially the leafy ones. Woods that are evergreen in all seasons. Most of them are softwoods. Evergreen foliage like pine, like cypress, their leaves stay on all seasons. This part of the wood is softwood. So in winter, just a branch and a trunk. The leaves have all fallen off of these. What about these? Usually called hardwoods. We use hardwoods in our fireplaces. In Ontario, Greater Toronto area, there are a few types of wood that we use for fireplaces. One is maple, and ash, like cherry, birch. And so on these wood is the wood that we use for our fireplaces. There's also a part of wood like fruit wood, apple wood, pear wood, peach wood, like these woods. I like them. When I can. I also look for a single species of wood to burn because of the flavor. It's more distinctive. It's more fragrant. I like this better. Then I would like to introduce to you how to recognize these wood. The most important thing to recognize the wood is the bark of the tree, and also the inner part of the wood. It is possible to pass this cross-section of it to determine what kind of wood is it. What kind of wood? Today is like this. One is I pick a few kinds of wood to show you the bark, and the other is about the inner quality of these woods. I want to show you the inner qualities of the wood, to show you that I use some of my wood artworks, and to show you, take a look at this. What is the inner pattern of the wood? In this way, you will be able to, when you burn the stove, you add this. When you add wood to the stove, of course, it will all come out as ash, but it makes no difference when you feed it in. Here, there may be a sense of culture. Don't you think so? Let's start introducing our wood. I'll introduce you to this wood. Peach wood. Let's take a look at the bark. The color of the bark, it's rather dark. Of course, this piece of wood has been in storage almost 3 years. This one here. The bark is in this shape. The inside is like this. Peach wood. The pattern is very beautiful. Peach wood is also called dragon wood. This one, it can subdue demons and control ghosts. This is the inside of peach wood. This is one of my creations. We don't look at the shape. Let's just look at the pattern. Isn't it very beautiful? This one too. Look at the bark. It's similar to this one. The color of the bar is more dark. Peach wood is also often used in our cars. Sometimes some of the more upscale cars, it's a dashboard. The interior of the driver's side of the cab is made of peach wood. Look at this pattern. Right. This wood is pear wood. The bark of pear wood looks like this. The color is a bit wild. That's right. The material inside is very delicate. It's also very delicate. Let me show you this. Pear wood. Look. This pattern, the pattern of pear wood, I don't know the difference between pear wood, which is very popular in China. I don't know the difference between the pear wood, which is very popular in China, and this pear wood. Anyway, I think the grain of this pear wood is already very beautiful. This is pear wood. Next, I'll introduce this as apple wood. Look at the bark of this apple wood. It's like this. It's a gray bark. Apple wood. The material is also very good. This is an apple wood piece. And just take a look at the pattern. It's very delicate. I often burn these 3 kinds of wood together. The smell is very fragrant. It smells very good. Every time I burn it, I clean out the ashes from the stove and other woods. I burn it exclusively. This fruit wood. Why is Beijing's fruit wood roast duck so delicious? I seem to have some feelings. Okay, let's introduce this as birch wood. This birch is more popular. This is birch wood. This is birch bark. It's very good. Ignition. It's a very good material for fires. Birch is very abundant in Ontario. 50% of all furniture is made of birch. This is the inner surface of birch. This is the inside of birch. Front. The front. You can see it. birchwood comes out like this. This is a relatively new type of wetwood. It comes out. The pattern is like this. It's beautiful. It's like a water drop here. And these. This is another piece of birch. This piece of birchwood could have been stored for almost, it's about 5 years. So it doesn't have the bark. The inner grain is like this. Look at the grain. It's very beautiful. Let me show you this. This is the same species of wood. This is a batch of wood too. This is the effect when it comes out. Look at this. It's not rotting. What kind of magic is it? These are all birchwood. What about this wood? It's been cut for it's about 4 or 5 years old. It's not rotten. This is blotting out some lines. This is also birch. Look how beautiful it is. This is also birch. When I made this woodwork, I loved it. I like it very much. With this birch wood, every time. After cutting down a tree for a customer, I would keep a piece behind. I'll come back, make it work, and then put this piece, keep as a souvenir. Then the rest of the wood will be, I'll make firewood to burn. I think this is also a memorial to the tree. This is cherry wood. The bark of cherry wood is like this. This is the inside of cherry wood. In China, it's still more expensive in the international market. The international market also sells higher. But cherry wood is very common in our country. This is one of the major items of firewood we do for. You can see the inner grain of cherry wood. This is the inner grain of cherry wood. This is cherry wood. It's a pen holder. Take a look at the grain. The bark looks like this. This is also cherry. This is a forked part of the tree. Look at all these knots. I've always liked this one. it's all knots. It's all about the branches and the forks. So, this cherry wood, this pattern is also very fine. It's very beautiful. This is also a piece of wood left after I cut down a tree for a customer, and then I made it into a wooden bowl. This is also the pattern of cherry wood. Today we are not mainly focusing on these wooden works. We are mainly looking at what kind of inner pattern this wood has. When you throw the wood to the bottom of the hot pot, you also think about it. This is what it looks like. This is called ash. This kind of wood. It's very hard and sturdy. Look at the grain. It's a very, very thick grain. The bark looks like this. We often use this ash wood to make baseball bats. Baseball bats. It's very strong and tough. This ash wood is also very beautiful. I like this one. This is ash wood, out of the grain. There are other ash wood. This is also ash wood. The bark of the ash wood is like this. This is also ash wood. The grain is straight. This is this kind of wood. Look at the grain. This is the effect when it comes out. I'm going to introduce the maple wood. This is the pride of Canada. This is the wood I'm going to introduce. This is our maple tree. The bark of this tree looks like this. It's called sugar maple. Sugar maple. Let's take a look. This is a cross section of a piece of maple. This is natural. This is the pattern. The bark is like this. This is some of my maple work. Look at the grain. Maple is very delicate. It's a very high grade, furniture material. This is also maple. This and this are from the same tree. Look, does this look like a Chinese ink painting? Coiled dragon and cloud sea. Look at this pattern. It's like a calligraphy brush. The cone drawing of Shiwuru, Yokohama. Right? It comes from this piece of wood. That's why when you fill the stove with wood, think about it. What are the inner qualities of the wood? Okay. That's all for today's program. Thank you for watching. See you soon.